Oh my God, April, she's so cute.
Oh my God, she was not a 20 to 4 this morning, projectiling everywhere. Hi.
Hello.
Do you think this is acceptable body prep?
That's acceptable when you're a year old.
Yeah.
Wow, Laura, if you don't look like a picture of prep, I don't know what is a picture of prep.
Mate,
Oh God, yeah, that is prep.
I feel fucking dreadful.
Look at those shoulders though.
Shredded, mate. You can have a lie in tomorrow. You know, I ain't having a
me.
cardio.
Sorry, you got your kids on. Just gonna eat my cauliflower.
Oh man, you make me feel really bad.
Yeah, I hope you
Eating my
do.
own. I've been there, so it's fine. Right, where is everyone else? I'm going to slap them off in a group in a minute.
You would never ask me to do something that you wouldn't do.
Correct. I know, it's awful, isn't it, Amara, being that hungry? Where is everybody?
She's just like she's sad.
People asked for this topic this week as well, I'm doing. People asked for it, so where are they?
Okay.
Sean, you look so brown.
I went on the sunbed today.
You've not even been to Turkey yet. You're like, just come back.
I know. I'll change race when I'm out there.
Where do you train, Sean? Because you're like Wales way, aren't you?
Yeah, PB Fitness Gym in Ponty.
Is it you Swansea way?
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I used to live.
Ah.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
Tredegar.
Oh, not too far then. Where do you train in Planet Fitness, is it?
Yeah.
Is it a good gym?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to go up and try it.
Probably like one of the best gyms in the UK.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
cool.
amazing, yeah.
It's like an ultra flex.
Yeah, it gives those vibes. I have been fancying going up there. It's just finding the time.
Yeah, it's probably like about an hour and 20 from Swansea. It's a bit of a trek, but Demi, I think, trains there sometimes as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Demi trains there. Okay, people are. People come from time zones. Whoops. Hi, Claire. Are we okay?
Hey,
You sat in the dark, hon.
I know I need to turn a light on.
This topic will be good for you, Claire, this week. Right. I'll give it 1 more minute and then I'm going to start. People just dragging. People are so lazy, man. There's like 70 of you. Like 20 of you can be bothered. It's not even that late. Like 5 p.m. I don't know what everyone does at 5 p.m. on a Sunday.
I won't be here next Sunday because I'll be on my holidays.
Fair play. Right. Okay, well, I'll just start. Oh, got another one. Oh, and another one. Sherry's here.
That's okay.
Right, I'll just start and then everyone can drib in. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Okay, so I wanted to talk this week about, and this will be like really common for a couple of you, and it'll be really different for others. Okay. Now, have any of you, and I want it to be quite interactive, like I'm going to be quite interactive with you today. I asked everyone to download MyFitnessPal if they haven't already got it on their phones. If you haven't, download it now while I'm talking, so that when I do a little like interactive thing in a minute, you can all use it. But I wanted to talk about like macro tracking, and this isn't because I want everyone to suddenly start macro tracking, but what I wanted to do is make sure that each of you are able to make food swaps and understand if you want to make food swaps, you can make food swaps. And I think that sometimes like we're all extremely rigid to like a meal plan. And although I think a meal plan is really good, like I think it means that you eat the same macros each day, and I think that it means you don't come away from your plan, and it means you don't have to think about it too much, and we know it's consistent and it works. I think sometimes from experience, like with people, it can really like have a negative impact on like your mental health with food, and it can cause a really bad relationship with food. Now, I think that this can be the case in prep, it can be in reverse, and it can be the case in an off season. And I think the more mature you get as an athlete, it gets easier to manage a meal plan and manage macros. But when you haven't done this very long and you're so used to just following a meal plan all the time, I think that maybe eating something different can cause a bit of anxiety, or it can just be like, oh, it's not my plan, so I can't eat it. So like I've had people speak to me about anxiety about going for an off-plan meal and what they should do, and is it going to ruin what they're eating and all this sort of stuff. Now, what I want you to be able to do, and what I'm going to try and teach you all probably over the course of like a few weeks or at different times, is how we can actually replace foods. So for example, like first thing I'll ask, like, is anyone here apart from Laura, because Laura is macro tracking queen, like does anybody like use MyFitnessPal? Have they used MyFitnessPal much? And would they know how to swap things out if they were like, okay, well, I've run out of rice, what could I have instead? Do people know how to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've used it quite
Yeah.
often.
And say that again, Sherry.
I've used it before. I've used it like I like to track everything in it. So
I guarantee that there'll be people on here that are afraid to say that they don't, because so many of us do. So I reckon it'll probably be good to explain it anyway, just for the shy ones at the back. Okay.
Shy ones at the back. Yeah, so like Laura, for example, always followed a meal plan, religious meal plan follow, and then was like, I want to explore macros, and then in her off season did macros, right? And was like, right, I know how to structure a meal plan because I've been on one for a long time. So she had 6 meals a day, maybe 25 grams of protein per meal. So it was like maybe 40 grams of carbs per meal, and she knew exactly what she was having every single day, every single meal. And then took the reins on macro tracking and was like, okay, well, I can swap meal choices out here and I can plan my own day. I'm not suggesting everyone should do that. But for example, if you've got, for example, in one of your meals, if you've got 40 grams of rice. Now, has everyone got MyFitnessPal on their phone? Can they do this while they're on the phone to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on MyFitnessPal, and I want you to search basmati rice in MyFitnessPal. Just search for it as it is.
Do you have to have premium, or does the normal one be all right?
No, normal is absolutely fine.
Right. Mine are just coming up with what I've used, like
Yeah,
Beat
mine's
it.
always
That's
that
right.
like
Mine's always
VT
that-
rice.
rice is like the worst thing because it's always not cooked, and I do everything. And
So I use packet rice just for like ease with the baby. It's just quicker.
I just
Here's
tend to
the
scan
first
the-
problem with MyFitnessPal. Here's the first problem with MyFitnessPal, because everything is different for every single person, right? Because
So
whether
I normally
every single
scan it.
entry in MyFitnessPal, some of them are going to be microwave, some of them are going to be raw. Okay, now if you type in basmati rice dry, because it's the dry weight,
I got it.
there should be one that comes up at the top.
100 grams for
There should be
331 calories, generic.
76 grams of carbs. So if you choose one that says raw, you should find one there. There's one, the second one down, basmati rice raw, 100 gram portion. If you click, is everyone following me?
I
Mhm.
can't see raw. I haven't got raw. I've got
Yeah,
dry.
I can't find her.
Got dry.
Oh, I got it. I got it. I
Dry.
got it. I got it.
Same
I got
thing,
it.
right?
Oh, I
Yeah.
got basmati rice dry, 350 on 100 grams tilde, 78 carb.
There you go. How much carb,
Seven-
April?
78 that one.
There you go. That's about right. So I've got one here that's 76.5. So that'll measure it'll probably say 100 grams. It'll probably
Yeah.
say 100 grams of serving size and number of servings 1, and it'll give you an output, right? If you click on the serving size thing, there's a drop down and it should go to 1 gram.
Yeah, so that's, I only do one and then serving size like 60 or 50, whatever it is.
There you go. So you go in the serving size and you type in 50. Now, so if you've got on your plan 50 grams of rice, if you put it in MyFitnessPal, 50 grams of raw weight rice, it'll say 38.3 grams of carbs, right? Has everyone got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Roughly,
So,
yeah.
for example, if you haven't got any, roughly 38, 39 grams of carbs, there or thereabouts, right? If you, for example, would rather eat potato for that meal, white potato, you know that that meal should be 38 grams of carbs. So do
200.
exactly the same thing. Go on MyFitnessPal. There you go. Go on MyFitnessPal and type in white potato. Has everyone found a white potato on MyFitnessPal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has everyone else found it?
It's giving me the option of like baked or boiled or
When I put white potatoes,
Look for another one.
There should be raw white potato on there if you search for
Raw
that.
white potato.
Right, yeah.
potatoes, raw-
Potato white, no skin, 100 grams, 86. So you 200 grams would take you to about 41.
it just depends. Yeah. See, I've got more
So-
84 potatoes, 82 calories for 100 grams Morrison's, and it's 72 calories 100 grams. The one at the top, which is potatoes,
100
white raw, is 69 grams, 69 calories for 100 grams. It's just weird.
Yeah, 69 calories, 16 grams of carbs. So they're probably going to be slightly different. So like you might have one that's 72 calories, you might have one that's 64. 100 grams of white potato is about 16 grams of carbs. One might say 15, one might say 17, but it's about 16 grams of carbs. So the way you work that out is obviously like your white rice is 38 grams of carbs for 50 grams of weight. So in the white potato, just adjust the amount until you get to 38 grams of carbs. So if I adjust it there, 240 grams of white potatoes, 38 grams of carbs. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So everyone should be able to, if they want to, swap foods out a little bit. And that's just one basic example. You can do exactly the same with fat sources. So if you've got 20 grams of peanut butter and you want to swap it for avocado, 20 grams of peanut butter is about 10, 11 grams of fat. So you can be like, right, I'm going to look at avocado and see how much avocado is 11 grams of fat. And then you can have that much avocado. So while I'm not telling everyone to go swap all of their meal sources around, what I do want people to start to be able to do a little bit is be able to macro track things out if they want to. For example, if you decide that you've got, for example, Claire, right, you've got, say, a chicken and pasta meal, right, or chicken and rice meal. You might think, do you know what, I quite fancy potato pasta and I quite fancy prawns. So you might be like, right, I'll put in 100 grams of chicken, or if you're not sure, girls, and you're not sure which one to choose, pick up the rice that you've got at home and scan it. Pick up the pack of chicken you've got and scan it. Pick up the pasta you've got and scan it. Just check if it's cooked or raw weight. That's the only thing I'd say on the packets. Pastas sometimes do cooked weight.
And
So just make sure
also,
that you check that.
Just to interject, because these are uploaded from people's previous uploads, and also sometimes supermarkets do update their recipes and things like that. Always just double check that the 100 grams amount corresponds with the 100 grams amount on your app. then that way you'll know that you've 100% got it bang on. I think it might only be on the premium version, but it'll ask you is this correct, and then you can like adjust it and amend it if it's not. So don't get asked by things like that either.
That's a good point.
I found an app which I find which is a little bit better than Mars Fitness Palace. I think it's called Stupid Smart Macros, and obviously you can scan things in on that as well. It's just literally just everything. And it's quite good.
There's a couple. There's another one called Chronometer. That's good as well. I think MyFitnessPal is just like quite easy to use, and a lot of people know it. But just be careful. And if you're not sure, just message me and ask. Screenshot it and put it in WhatsApp and just ask. But what I want you to be able to do, like you, for example, Claire, say you've got a chicken and rice meal, and you think, do you know what? I really fancy prawns and some pasta. You can work out 100 grams of chicken is 20 grams of protein, for example. You can put prawns in, raw prawns, and you can just keep adjusting the amount. So it says 20 grams of protein. You might need 150 grams of prawns. It's exactly the same thing. We need to be looking at the carbs, the fats, and the protein, and not necessarily worry too much about the calories. It's about the carbs, the fats, and the protein. The calories will work themselves out. But you are in a position as individuals where I want to try and not only get you like the results that you want, but also level you up from like a thinking perspective, so that you don't feel so rigidly stuck in this food plan. Because sometimes I think people get a little bit worried about coming away from their plan, or maybe you really fancy, like say, prawns and pasta. You really fancy making like a prawn linguine. I don't know, you're feeling a bit adventurous, but you think, oh, I'm going to have an off-plan meal for that because I don't know how to do it. Whereas you can actually be quite inventive with your food and be quite creative with your food, and you don't have to come away from your plan. You can just be a little bit more creative. So if you fancy steak and potato, you can swap out your mince and you can put a steak in. If it's a lean steak that's not got too much fat on it, you can put a steak in. How much weight of a steak do I need? And you can make potato, put them in the air fryer, and suddenly you've got steak and chips instead of chicken and rice. And it's essentially the same thing, but you're able to have different foods. And I think it's really important, because I think sometimes it's the difference between people staying on plan and on track and not falling off plan because they get a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, I've done it loads, like where I'll because I just love rice cakes. I'm obsessed with rice cakes, and because I hate cooking, like I can't be asked to cook rice, or I can't be asked to cook potatoes and like air fry them and make them into wedges. So I just like I like look at it and go, okay, so I can have like 4 rice cakes. So if you've got like Marmite rice cakes, or like the blueberry and is it like blueberry and vanilla or something?
Yeah,
Those
they're
tallow ones. Oh, they're banging. They're so good. So I'm like, I'll just have some rice cakes instead.
My issue is with rice cakes, though. I can't have them. I've got to keep them out of the house, because if we start eating, if I've got 4, I'm like, 4 don't touch the side of rice cakes. So they've just got to, I'd want to eat the rest. So I'm like, no.
Yeah. I think like, and Laura, if you've got the energy to speak, how much difference do you think it made on your reverse being on macros, or having macros to play with, instead of having a rigid meal plan for you actually being able to stay on track?
Yeah, so I basically macro tracked all of my before I started with Mads, I had a massive like off season to be able to start getting ready for stage. Then I went into prep and I was on a meal plan. Then when I started with Mads, I was like, right, give me a meal plan. I want to be really strict, and I want to be like regimented and in routine. And then as soon as it got to post show, like as soon as show's done, you kind of get this feeling that you don't want the restriction anymore. You don't want to be told what to do. You've obviously, your goal is different now, and it's kind of like you want to be able to rebel almost any decision making for you. So it kind of gives you that control again to be able to, and Mads will respect me for saying this because we've obviously had several post shows now. And it's like totally not a critique of Mads, it's just kind of like you want to be able to take ownership of yourself again and control your own things again. And I think that having macro tracked reverse kind of gave you that freedom, that if I wanted to miss a meal and go out for a Nando's, because Nando's have got all of the macros listed on their website, then I certainly can. And it wasn't like I was having an off-plan meal. I wasn't kind of like going about like over my calories, and it was all within control. And my last reverse was meticulous because of it. I think the one thing that I was worried about was doing a macro tracked prep because I'd only ever done a meal plan for prep. But with my last prep, it started off as a mini cut. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to actually macro track a dieting phase. And then it just turned into a prep. And it was only like when we got to 1 week out or something like that, I was like, oh shit, like I've actually macro tracked this whole prep. And that was something that I'd had massive anxiety over previously, which didn't even phase me in the end because there was like, you just know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah. I think it's like, it's different, isn't it, for everyone? Whereas for me, even on the reverse, I'd much rather have a plan and have to know what I'm eating. But then again, like you said, it's that freedom. If you want to change something, you can. So I know for me, if I didn't have a plan, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to just eat loads of crap because I can. Do you know what I mean? So like, but yeah, having the macros, so you can change if you want to, but having a base plan works better for me, I think.
I think it's knowing what you can have on your plan, like, because like I know what I can have like carbs wise and protein wise, but I think it's the fats. Like you mentioned avocado, like because it's not been on my plan, like I have like peanut butter or like dark chocolate, and I'm like, I don't know what fats I would have. I think that's where I would struggle more than anything is knowing what to pick, which are good fats rather than like shit. Because I just you know.
So you got like the things like salmon and stuff like that. It's quite easy if you macro tracking it through the apps. It's quite easy to match it up, isn't it? But for me, I'd be like conscious that I'd go over my calories more than anything. I think the macros and that I can probably get macros bang on with stuff when I'm macro tracking. But for me, I'd focus on the calories, which I shouldn't because it's not really that.
Calories work themselves out because for every gram of protein is 4 calories, and every gram of fat is 9 calories, and every gram of carbs is 4 calories. So like if you hit your macros, your calories always pretty much add up. What you'll find is if you have stuff that is in a packet, right? If you come away from Whole Foods and you macro track a Kit Kat has got extra calories in because it's got extra shit in it that's not really a carb, fat, or a protein, and you'll find that you're over on your calories, but you've hit your macros, but you're not really accounting for the other stuff. Whereas if you're taking on Whole Foods all the time, like your calories will nearly add up. Like I macro track everything. Like I'm that is my meal plan. My meal plan is macro tracking. So like today I'm over on 2 grams of carb, that under on 1 gram of fat, protein is bang on, and I've got 1 calorie left. So like I'm not really that bothered because I'm pretty much bang on. Do you know what I mean? I'm 2 over on carb, but 1 under on fat. But what might be helpful, I don't know if this will be helpful for anyone on this, like Tell Me Shout Up. If I put like a cheat sheet together, it was a list of proteins, a list of carbs, and a list of fats, and then maybe posted that in the group so people can think about changing things up if they want to. Do you think that would be quite helpful? So you can then be like, oh, actually, I could eat sweet potato today, and I'll go and macro track the difference with rice. Would that be helpful?
Yeah. 100%, please.
Oh,
that one time I asked you about mashed potato.
That list.
I found like packet mashed potato, and I was like, Mad, can I have this packet mashed potato? And you were like, send me the thing. You were like, it's full of shit. I was like, never having packet mashed potato again in my life. But I don't know how to make like mashed potato with just potato and nothing in it. Cause I tried to make it and put some I put some Greek yogurt in it, like 0% Greek yogurt to like make it a bit smoother. Oh, it was fucking bogging. It was just the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten in my life.
You
about
use,
a little bit of
almond milk. You could use almond milk.
Yeah, almond milk.
Or like cashew milk.
Because almond milk is like 14 calories per 100 mils, isn't it? So it's not.
Yeah, and
because
I know
Greek yogurt in potato is fucking me.
Yeah, it sounds mean. The other thing you could do, if you had pure butter, oh my God, look at Laura's shoulders, absolutely peeled me. One thing you could have is like pure butter, but you'd have to replace that for your other fats. So if you had like 20 grams of peanut butter in that meal, so you'd have to go on your plan, you'd have to go on MyFitnessPal, type in, like scan the butter, like the pure butter, not like utterly butterly, really, like proper butter, scan it and be like, right, okay, 20 grams of that is 15 grams of fat, and I should have 30 grams of peanut butter. So that's the same thing. or I should have 20 grams of peanut butter. How much of that is that in butter? And then you could make the difference. But I'm quite happy to write a cheat sheet of like whole foods, what is a fat, what is a carb, and what is a protein. Some things overlap. So salmon is a massive overlap. So salmon is a protein, but it's also a fat. So 100 grams of salmon is about 11 grams of fat. So if you had a meal that was chicken, peanut butter, and rice, and you had 20 grams of peanut butter, 20 grams of peanut butter is about 10 grams of fat. So if you had salmon instead, you would replace the peanut butter and the chicken for your salmon and have your rice. So some things you have to be a little bit careful of, because some things are both. Most things aren't both. Like most things are one. Most things is a protein. The only thing that is also both is if you have a fatty steak. Like if you picked up a rump steak, for example, from the supermarket, a rump steak has got like maybe 10 grams of fat in for 100 grams. But if you got like a clean steak, like a fillet or something, and you just got like frying steak or something, if it doesn't have loads of marbling in fat, you can treat it like 5% mince, which generally is like, you can treat it pretty much as 0% fat. If it's a lean piece of meat, it's fine. So yeah, that's an option. The only other thing which cross over a little bit is like if you have any kind of sausages, like if you have like Hex sausages or something, they have a little bit of fat in them and a little bit of carbs, because obviously they've got a bit of flour and a bit of stuff in. But anything that's a whole food, pretty much, that is not in a packet, like that's not pre-done, you can pretty much swap out very, very easily just by having a look at the quantity. A lot of things are very similar. You can't go too far wrong with like chicken, prawns. Like you can pretty much just go like 1 for 1, gram for gram, pretty much.
I've done it before where I've like swapped chicken for turkey mince, because it's pretty much basically the same, and I feel like there's more volume with turkey mince.
Pretty much the same. With turkey, it's a bit higher in protein, so you have to have a little bit less. That's the only thing. So and prawns are a little bit more, so a bit less in protein. So it's just like working it out on MyFitnessPal. But like, has anyone got any questions on it? Because I know if you've never done this before, it can seem like a massive like, oh my god, this is really confusing. Has anyone got any questions on it?
So from my end, you will have received lots of texts from me where I panic all the time when I'm literally going out, and I'm like, okay, I swapped the salad for a salad from a restaurant where I can actually, swap and just understand. And I feel like probably just having like a cheat sheet where you can actually know what you can have would be like super helpful, because it can feel like a little bit overwhelming, like, oh my god, am I swapping? Oh my god, am I gonna go completely off plan and then go on the scale and it's all ruined? Because to be fair, this is what happens at the back of my mind most times, where I'm like, oh my god, I had 10 grams of extra chicken, what is gonna happen? Which it's not going to happen. It's not going to be that bad. But I feel like it's that anxiety that you're like, okay, I'm comfortable with my meal plan and everything. I don't want to change it, but if I was to change it, what is going to happen? So I feel like having suitable options, it's going to be a bit of a test and learn, but let's see. It's exciting.
One tip that I will give is that on MyFitnessPal as well, sometimes things are defaulted to the 100 gram measurements on there, so it looks like you can't actually track like smaller increments in that. You can change it to 1 gram. So there's an example on there that's 100. There's a drop down menu that you can change to 1 gram, and that's where you can start really tweaking your specifics on it. So that's another top tip as well that not many people realize.
Also on the 100 grams, even some of them don't have a drop down 1 gram, but you can just write percentages, so you can track. Let's say I have 35 grams of something, it says 100 grams, try 0.35.
Yeah.
And that will track to 35 grams.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
Quick maths, it's good. And this isn't to scare people like Anna, I know that you messaged me, you're like, oh my god, I had like 3 salad leaves thing today. Shall I leave out my Cocoa Pops? And I'm like, 3 salad leaves ain't the same as 50 grams Cocoa Pops, mate. You're fine.
Have them both.
But Laura's like, eat all of it. But I think this is what I want you to think about, is like, it's not scary. And what you can do is you can do it the other way around as well. So instead of thinking, I want to eat sweet potato, how much would that be for my rice? What you can do, if you are in a position where you eat something different, for example, you, Anna, you've gone to this meal and maybe you've asked for, like, you're at this thing, you've got to have it with work, and you're like, right, I've asked for a chicken salad because I want to stay roughly on plan, right? or you've had a chicken salad and on the side you've had, I don't know, they've given you like some bread or something, and you can't weigh it out, that's not a thing. But what you can do is be like, right, well, that is like the size of one slice of bread, one slice of toast, and that looks like a normal portion of chicken. So you can put that into MyFitnessPal and you can type in 100 grams of chicken, you can search bread, one slice, and you can be like, right, well, that's 20 grams of protein and 13 grams of carbs that I've eaten in that meal when I was out. And you can say, right, my next meal is chicken and rice. So how much do I need to take off that chicken and rice meal to account for what I just ate? And you can work it backwards. So you can say, right, that's 13 grams of carbs. So how much is 13 grams of carbs in rice? Okay, well, that's 20 grams of rice. So I'll just take 20 grams of rice out of my next meal, and then that accounts for the piece of toast that I ate. So instead of like this mentality of being like, I think some people think when they go off plan, their day is ruined. And they're like, oh my God, I've gone off plan and it's fucked everything. Oh my God. And actually, that's not the case. Claire's like, yeah, that's me. That's not the case. Whereas Claire, like, you could go in MyFitnessPal and type in Sauvignon Blanc 300 ml, and you could be like, right, how much?
10.
How much pizza is that? Okay, well, that's a slice of pizza. But you can work it out the same way as well. So you can say, well, this is what I have had today, which maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe that's a couple of biscuits. Maybe that's something. And this isn't saying eat biscuits every day, but it's like, I know things happen. And you can be like, right, okay, well, I've eaten this today that was off my meal plan. But let's put it in MyFitnessPal and let's see what it is. Let's see what it is. Okay, well, I've still got this much food that I've got to eat for the rest of the day. So if that's 10 grams of carbs and 5 grams of fat, how much is that in peanut butter and how much is that in oats? Okay, well, I'll just take that out of that other meal, and then you've had the thing that you want and you're still on track and you haven't gone over your food for the day. And then essentially, that's where you kind of start to learn to macro track a little bit, because then you start to be like, okay, well, I've taken that off. I've now got 50 grams of carbs left and 100 grams of protein left. What can I make up out of that 100 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbs? And this is where you start to learn that you can just track different things. And I want people, whether you compete or not, I want to get everyone in this room in the position where, like, at some point when they finish their coaching journeys, at some point everybody will, they're able to go off into their life and follow maintenance macros and be able to manage your day-to-day without a meal plan. Because it's really important that you can do that, because you need to be able to learn something on this journey as well that you can take on for the rest of your life. So that's a really, really good tool to learn. I think starting point, before we overcomplicate everything, just learning that you can swap food out and be like, right, I don't want rice, I want this. How much do I have? And starting to learn to track little bits out, I think, is a really, really good like tool for everyone to learn.
One thing that I love, really beneficial, I don't know whether you're coming onto the subject in a bit or not, is that whenever anybody would go to me, let's go out for dinner, I would already, like off the top of my head, know 5 restaurants at the moment that have got all of their macros listed individually on their website. So I would have a look at the menu in advance. I would have a look and plug it into MyFitnessPal in advance. And obviously bear in mind that things aren't going to be cooked the same every single time, and that they might use, I don't know, additional butters, and they might have a bigger portion or a smaller portion on this occasion. But it kind of gives you that guesstimate almost to what it should be in advance. So for example, you can, if you really wanted to, you can go to Tortilla and track a whole burrito, literally list every single ingredient that you're having, and then just go there, turn up and order the exact thing. Even if you have to read it off the screen off your phone, at least you know that it's tracked. So there's Pizza Express do it, Zzz's do it, Nando's do it, Five Guys even do it. So you can track a whole Five Guys.
Harvester do it too.
Harvester do it. So there's so many places that if you just go onto their website and have a look at the nutritional information, there are like breakdowns exactly of what you can specifically order. Just plug that into your phone in advance, then it takes your decision making away when you do get there. It allows you to stay on plan as well. And if it means that you have to swallow 2 meals in one to be able to have this enjoyment but stay on track and know that you've smashed your goals still and have that kind of like family time if you want it, then you are able to do that as well.
One thing you can do on MyFitnessPal as well, because I did it this week, because we've had Matt, which is one of Corey's clients, here all week. And obviously they wanted to eat out every single day, and I half had to go with them every single time. Like because I macro track, it was very easy. I didn't put a gram on a weight all week because I was able to track everything that I ate. We would go for steak. I would track in. I'd be like, right, I know that I'm probably going to have a steak that's 200 grams and probably have 300 grams of potato as the side. And I put that into my fitness plan the day and I work my day backwards from that. But what I can also do, and you can also do on MyFitnessPal, is most restaurants now are integrated with MyFitnessPal. So if you search in the food bit on MyFitnessPal, the restaurant name.
Yeah.
So if you search Nando's, for example, everything that they sell at Nando's comes up as a portion of the menu. Everything. So you've got everything that they do, it comes up on Nando's. Chili jam, one pot, then pita thing, everything comes up. So you can pretty much search every single restaurant. I went to IHOP with them and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to eat IHOP. When you type in the mesh restaurant, it comes up at the top. So you click on the restaurant and then every single item on their menu comes up. So for Nando's, you'll have like everything it's not like a breast of chicken and a burger bun. It's like the exact thing off the menu is on MyFitnessPal. So I was like, okay, well, I had chicken and waffles. So I found it and I was like, right, okay, well, chicken and waffles from IHOP is whatever it was like 60 grams of fat, 98 grams of carbs, it's 1,000 calories. So that left me with only like 2/3 of my food for the rest of the day. But I tracked it in and then I worked all my food out from the rest of it. So like I said, this isn't like I want everyone to eat off plan and track all their food. But what this is like a conversation to like introduce people to macro tracking a little bit, because at some point in your life, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to want to be able to follow maintenance calories. And after this journey thing and be like, right, okay, well, I know that these are my macros. And if I work my way through each day, I'll roughly stay on track. That's a really, really useful tool because it's a really useful tool. And I think that starting off by just replacing some things, if you fancy something else, is a really good way to do it. And one good example is like, say you live at home with your partner and you want to have a cooked meal in the evening together. You don't have to say, I'm going to have an off-plan meal. You can just say, right, well, 2 of my meals, if I add them up in MyFitnessPal and put 2 of my meals in MyFitnessPal, that gives me 60 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, 20 grams of fat. Well, my other half wants to eat fajitas tonight. Okay, so I know that a wrap is 30 grams of carbs and you put that in MyFitnessPal, work out how much fajitas you can have, just segregate it from his, and then you can sit and eat fajitas together and you've eaten what's on plan because all you've done is swap your carbs and swap your protein and swap your fats. So it's very, very, very doable. And it can be a bit more inclusive with like your family or your friends, or even if you're on your own and you just don't want to eat rice today and you want to eat potato, like it's easy to do. And I want people to start just exploring a little bit, maybe once a week, maybe like tomorrow, maybe on Tuesday for one of your meals, think, okay, well, instead of rice, how much pasta would it be? And just start having a little bit of a play about with it and get a little bit of confidence. And tell me, be like, oh, I did this and this was great and meant I didn't eat chicken and rice for the 8th time this week, and tell me about it. So I think it's really important that we learn it. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about things like so I had like a massive like meltdown when I started adding herbs and stuff to my chicken. Obviously I know some like spices will have like fats in, but like smoked paprika, for example, has got fat in, right? But like how do you track like having like a few like sprinkles of smoked paprika?
No, it's so negligible, don't bother.
All right, so it's just me having a meltdown
like,
that I
on
like.
the back of your paprika. Yeah, on the back of your paprika it might say per 100 grams there's 15 grams of fat. Well, in 1 jar of paprika there's about 30 grams of paprika. How long is that going to last you? 2 months, a month?
Forever.
So that's 5 grams of fat pretty much in the whole thing, and you're going to spread that out over what, 3 or 4 weeks? It's so negligible. You probably take more calories in from breathing air each day. Like I swear, like don't worry about that. Don't worry about your herbs and your spices. The only thing you need to worry about is like your sauces. If you have full fat sauces, like full fat ketchup, 15 grams of ketchup's got about 6-7 grams of carbs in. You might as well have half a bagel thin if you have 2 portions of that a day. So think about your sauces and trying to have like low calorie skinny sauces, but like ketchup, you can buy the no added sugar one. Like mayo, you can get lighter than light mayo. Like you can get sauces which are very, very low in calories, and read the back of them as well. Like Nando sauces are absolutely perfect. Like Nando sauces per 100 grams have got about 2 grams of carbs in and half a gram of fat. They're really, really, really low.
When I heard about
Nando's
mustard the other
barbecue.
day, like I was like, mustard, because literally for this almost a year now, I've not added herbs, garlic granules, onion granules, nothing to my chicken, nothing to my mince. So I mean, I didn't know I could add stuff like that because I thought it would just add things. And the 1 week that I did, I think I put on like half a key, like I didn't like nothing. And I was like, oh, it's because I put paprika on my chicken. It probably wasn't.
It was probably the wine that you had that was off plan, mate. It wasn't the paprika.
I'm pretty
so you're fine with that. Go on, Sammy.
I was gonna say I'm probably like really late to it, but I didn't realize that you could look up like restaurants and stuff. So like me and Joe, like obviously it's Joe's show 2 weeks today now. So I've spent my day making cookies ready for it, which has been tough for me because I'm like I want to eat them all. But like we're going to like Miller and Carter the next week. So but I didn't realize that like I can literally like I've literally just looked it up there and like I can make sure that I've got everything set so that, like I know exactly what I'm doing because I'll be on plan still and he won't. So for him it's more like I'm gonna go wild, I'm gonna have everything, whereas I'm like I was a bit scared because I haven't obviously like since we've been together we've been on like bringing my weight down and I was a bit like I don't know how I feel about going out for dinner again, but that's made me feel like so much better, like so much better.
Yeah, I love that. And I think there's a thing with off plan here, and I know we're digressing a little bit, but it's important to talk about going off plan and having like an off plan untracked meal a week is really good for you mentally to be able to like turn off from bodybuilding, replace 2 of your meals, and that's the strategy I always say to people: replace 2 meals. So I say to you and it, Claire, replace 2 meals and just go and have a meal. Don't worry about what's in it. Don't eat until you're going to be sick. Just have a meal that you're going to enjoy the moment, eat till you're 70 to 80% full, and then go home and go to bed. That's an easy way to strategize. 2 meals might be 600-700 calories. If you go out for a meal in the evening, 700 to 1,000 calories is probably fair, even if you eat steak and chips at Miller and Carter, to be fair. Like, I would always allow for about 1,000 calories for an off-plan meal. Perfect, right? And then you can come home, go to bed, get up the next day, you might put on 0.2, you're fine, right? I don't want everyone to like over manage their off-plan meals because of this, but if it makes you feel better, it makes me feel better if I track. I have major anxiety if I can't track it. But if it makes you feel better to like track your meal, track your steak and your chips, a portion of chips at Miller and Carter or whatever, if it makes you feel better to track it, then track it and replace your food and be like, well, I know that I'm taking out 100 grams of rice and this, and I know that I can wake up tomorrow and be pretty much bang on. And that's a really good way to do it. And it makes you have, if it makes you have less anxiety about eating off plan and it makes you feel better about it and more relaxed about the whole thing, it's definitely a good thing to do. And it will really help you in the future as well, like after your bodybuilding journey or after, say, your lifestyle journey, being able to be like, okay, I can eat out at these places and account for it in my daily food. And it really, really helps you, I think.
One thing that I have learned from obviously being on a plan and then macro tracking and then obviously being on prep and the differences of what my body can handle and can't is that I went on a girls' hen do. And I said to Mads, like, this was between shows. I just want to be a human for the time. I don't want to send it. I just want to be sensible or as sensible as I could. But I didn't want to have to sit at the tables and track things, etc. So when I got caught out in moments where I couldn't roughly work it out myself, I just kind of stuck to pro fats where possible, which was a nice bit of protein. And then I had some fats on the side, so maybe some avocado or something like that, and then some veg to fill up on volume, so salad or greens or something like that. So I avoided carbs in those situations because it made me personally feel better, and I actually came home 0.5 kilo lighter after like a couple of drinks and like still having desserts and things like that. But I stuck to the majority of pro fats through the day and then had like a carby meal for the evening, and that kind of like helped me mentally when I was out in those moments. So, you know, like for example, my manager will come down to my shop and be like, "Oh, Laura, let me take you out for lunch." Obviously, he can't whilst I'm on prep, but I'll be like, "Okay, let's go." And then it's like, shit, what do I eat? I don't want to sit there tracking or anything like that. So it's those moments that get caught off guard that I will stick to a pro-fat kind of basis. So it kind of like just helps me mentally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can save your carbs later when you can track them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it on like meals
I would
out, like
go-
I find it really useful, like where you've said like, right, swap 2 meals out and then you can have your meals. So like I'll think, right, okay, I won't have my last 2 meals, but I know I can have a nice meal out. I'll have a couple of glasses of wine, but I'll always be like sensible with my meals. So rather than having like lasagna and chips, I'll be like, oh, I'll have like the Italian salmon and like something else, like just something really nice still. I'd always like go for like the shitty stuff, and I'm like, you don't have to eat lasagna, you don't have to eat like all the carbs in your life. Like you don't have to eat all the carbs. You can still eat really nice food.
I think like a big thing for me, and it's like I've found that it's like grown a lot more now that I've been with Mads, is that I now work in like an office, and offices are really hard, especially like a bunch of young girls, because it's like fat Fridays and always bringing treats in and fat lunches and foods and things like that. And like I used to love a fat lunch. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fat girl at heart, but I think I just sit there now and I go, right, the food is always going to be there. Like this food is not disappearing. Like that cookie that's on the side, there'll be another cookie. Like I don't need to have that cookie right now. And I think because I used to rely a lot on like
For sure.
food and like my mental health, like I connected the two of them quite a lot. Like if I was sad, I'd eat. If I was happy, I'd eat. Whereas now I'm like, right, you can be happy, but you don't need to then like kind of add the food in to like reiterate that to yourself. Like food will always be there. Good food will always be there. Like it's just, that's just something that's really helped me, especially like at the moment where my calories are lower than they have been. And like the girls are sat there and they're having like a Taco Bell and I'm sat there with like a chicken salad thinking shit. But like it is like food will always be there. Like it's hard to like disconnect sometimes, but it is something that's really, really helped me. It's like just proving to myself like the food will always be there.
I think that's really good, and it's a relationship with food thing. Like, and I think you're getting a better relationship with food through doing that, and that's what I want to try and promote with this. Is like you don't have to feel like I can't eat that because it's not on my plan. If you want potato, eat potato. If you want mince, eat mince. If you want some eggs, that's another thing that's a protein and a fat, by the way, like salmon, probably one of the only things. If you want eggs, eat eggs. If you want bread, eat bread. Because I don't want people to feel super restricted where it's like, if you really, really, really want chips and it's all you crave and you end up falling off planning, ordering a big bowl of chips from your nearest takeaway, well, you can just have them in your plan by like having potato and air frying them, and it's pretty much bangs the same. Sometimes it's better. So like, I don't want people to feel restricted, and I want to try and promote a good relationship with food, even though sometimes when people prep, they find the whole thing really difficult. I want you to feel like you're not, obviously you can't eat chocolate muffins every day. That's not really conducive to the goal. But within reason, you can have what you want and enjoy the food that you eat without it feeling restrictive. And I must say, like, since my difference of, I could never go back to a meal plan now, I macro track because, and Laura will probably say exactly the same thing, because I've had too much freedom where each day I can be like, oh, I fancy a potato now, oh, I fancy this, oh, I fancy that. And it means that I've got a lot more flexibility, and I have zero emotional attachment to food, zero, because I've got reign to have what I want. So I want to try and promote that with you girls as well, so you can choose the foods that you want and still stay on plan without feeling like this horrendous anxiety that you've eaten off plan or that you really want to, and you're having this battle with your food every single day.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for me, like especially obviously now like I am coming off of like medications and things like that I have been on for years, that like the mental attachment is quite hard. And like now that I've kind of like I've taught myself like it's okay, like I'm like, you're not going to kill me for eating off plan. Like you'll be like, mate, sort yourself out, but you're not going to be like, oh my God, you've ruined everything. What are you doing? Like all of this. And I can say to myself now, like, okay, you've had a blip, it's fine. You're not wildly off plan. You've not ordered a pizza. You've not done whatever. But it is nice, like having that non-attachment to food. Like it is really nice.
It's
Yeah.
so hard though. It's so hard. And like watching like your YouTubes as well, where like you are macro tracking and Corey's on a meal plan, and like Corey will go, here's Mads, and your food looks insane and his food looks shit. I'm like, I want to be Mads.
You want to be me, you don't want to be Corey, exactly. And that'll come with time and maturity. And you know what? It's just timing this and being able to understand, because being on macros isn't just about eating what you want through the day. Some people think macro tracking is just like scanning in a meal deal. That's not what it is. Like Laura will tell you, and I'll tell you, that I eat pretty much the same thing every day. I have 5 meals a day, or Laura, I think 6 meals a day, and they're all pretty much exactly the same. I don't eat Kit Kats, I don't eat ice cream, I eat eggs on toast for breakfast, and I have oats for pre-workout. Yeah, I have cream and rice post, and then I have a chicken and rice meal, then I have a chicken and potato meal, then I have oats.
When I go to macro
Same
track,
food every single.
I will, and say like if I do fancy something different. So I am one of them type of people that I'll be like, I'll get a taste for something, or I'll see something on telly and I go, oh, I really fancy a burger tomorrow. So I will plan what I'm having the following day, like that night, and then I will have it obviously the next day. So the thing that I struggle with macro tracking is that if you gave me no food on the day and I had a macro allowance and I had to plan my meals like as and when I was eating them and then start tracking them throughout the day, that's where I would struggle. So I still have structure to it because I always plan it in advance, which would be the day before. Or like even if I knew that I was going out on Friday night, I would plan that a couple of days before or something like that, and I would make sure that that was all in there, because then it settles my anxiety that I know exactly what I'm doing on that particular day. I know exactly what I'm eating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then that way if I get to the day and I'm like, oh shit, my potatoes are moldy, cool, let's switch them out for rice, or oh, like I really don't fancy that anymore, then I can switch that out on the day. But I'm basically taking the decision making out of it because I've already made it the day before, and I've meal prepped a couple of my meals for lunch or something like that. But if you'd ask me to track on the day with no clue, that's where I would struggle, because I'd always find that I'd be up on protein or down on carbs or something like that, typically over on carbs if I was to do it on the day. And I find that my meals were a little bit off balance throughout, and that's probably one thing that I would trip up on. So even though I do have a macro allowance, I always just make sure that I've plugged in what I'm having the following day, the day before, so then it's all there, takes the decision making out of it, and then I know that I can stay on plan really, really easy.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that scares.
To keep it like normal. Go on, Jade.
Sorry, I was going to say that's the one thing that scares me, because like working 3 jobs, or working 2 jobs and owning my own business, once I'm out the house for 14, 15, 16 hours. So having to macro track everything around working those jobs on the day literally petrifies the shit out of me, because I know I'll just go carb heavy and I'll go off probably on Skittles, to be honest. I'll probably go off plan on Skittles. But obviously
I think it. Go on, Jade.
Sorry, starting with my new job, obviously I'm not going to be working 14-hour days, so I'll be working 7-hour days, so I can actually sit there like you say, I can actually sit there the night before and be like, I'm not getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning, getting up to go to the gym at 8, and then I'm out all day, and then I'm trying to run around Sainsbury's trying to find scanned food like a mental person, thinking, oh my God, I can't have that because that's got this. And then I'll go into, I'll implode, and then I'll go and have a Nando's or something instead.
Yeah. And I think like Corey is exactly the same. So Corey couldn't macro track. Too much mental thinking, too much mental stress, too much mental like, oh my God, I can't do that. And I think it's because like if you're busy like that, I think it's maybe the mentality around tracking. So you're thinking, oh, I'd have to go through my day and think about what I'm eating. Whereas you kind of don't. Like I follow, and Laura probably pretty much exactly the same, follow the same food every day. I eat the same thing. This morning I didn't work out what I was eating today because I just went to my last rest day and I just copied it because I knew exactly I'd just eat the same thing. Like my training day, I eat exactly the same thing every single day. It doesn't change ever, unless I'm like, I don't fancy potato, I fancy rice. So you still get up and prep the same food every day, but it just gives you the ability to change things. And you know, when you're checking, if I said, I'm giving you an extra 20 grams of carbs today, instead of upping your rice a little bit, I would just give you 20 grams of carbs. And then you could almost look at your own meal plan that you've written on MyFitnessPal each day and be like, okay, well, 20 grams of carbs, where do I want to eat them? Actually, I want them in my last meal. And maybe you'll increase your Cocoa Pops in your yogurt by 20 grams or 15 grams or 30 grams or whatever it is. So you would still, the thing with macro tracking is still like having structure, because your body likes structure. One of the first things I'll tell you when you all first join me is like managing energy balance, making sure that each meal is kind of the same amount of protein, carbs, fats. Like we don't want loads of carbs in the evening and none in the morning, and loads of protein in the morning and none in the evening, or loads of fats at lunchtime and none later on. Maybe around your workout window, we have a little bit more carbs, maybe a bit more fats to slow things down a bit. But generally, your meal spread is pretty the same across the day to stop this like peak and trough in energy. So when you macro track, you still pretty much follow a meal plan. Like I still follow a really boring chicken and rice and chicken and potato diet. I swear to God, I don't eat anything exciting. But it just gives you the ability to be able to change things, you know. But it does come with maturity and it comes with time. Like Laura's been doing this quite a long time now, you know, like started to take some reins. Nasty has done this a short while, and even like Nasty is swapping foods out a little bit. She's like, oh, Mads, I don't want to eat rice tomorrow. I'm like, okay, well, don't eat rice then, eat something else. And she'll just swap it out. Yeah. And change her foods. And I think there is a nice confidence thing with.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, sure.
No, go on, carry on. I was just had a quick look, because obviously I'm working on it. I just had a quick look at my last meal, like my egg whites and that, and I just swapped it for like chicken, rice, and salad, and it's basically the same. So just having a quick, I was just having a quick look to see what you could, obviously just a test of the changes.
Yeah. So like your eggs have got fats in, so you'd obviously replace the fats with like an egg has got 6 grams fat in, so two of them is like 10-11 grams of fats, which is 20 grams of peanut butter. And your eggs probably make 80-100 grams of chicken, and your rice is probably 35 grams or something, or 30 grams for a bagel. So you can do that swap, and you can have that, and there's a good practice. You're on plan. It's exactly your macros.
I think that like basic cheat sheet would be amazing. Like just those little tweak, like, because I'll like swap out stuff for rice cakes just because I can't be asked to cook, basically. But this, like you say, it's just like the fats and stuff be amazing, like so good.
Easy to swap. I can do a little cheat sheet. That's easy. I'll write a little note. I'll do a cheat sheet. Easy. Has anyone else got any questions? I've enjoyed this little macro tracking chat.
My quick question was, obviously we were having a conversation the other day about salmon and mince, and like salmon and steak, and I was just wondering, because when I was with like my old coach, she said that it was all right to swap my steak for my mince, but obviously when we had this discussion, it was like different about the fats. So I was just wondering, what, like, when you say steak, what sort of cut of steak do you mean, and like what's the difference with the fats and stuff?
So like a fillet steak, you know, a steak that's got lots of white marbling through, like a rump, even a rump or a sirloin, they're more like the macros of salmon. So like if you have 100 grams of that kind of steak, you're probably looking at 7, 8, 9, 10 grams of fat in something like that that's all marbled through with fat. If you had like a fillet, and you can see it when you look at it in a packet on the supermarket side, and if you go on MyFitnessPal, you can type in sirloin steak or rump steak or whatever, and they're all going to be slightly different, because every single cut that you look at, some are going to have more fat than others, right? So if you're eating like a sirloin or a rump, you probably can replace that for salmon. It's going to be similar. If you're having a fillet steak, that's going to be more like minced calories because it's a much leaner meat. So it just depends which steak you're having. That's the difference. So if you want to swap salmon for steak, you can, but you're probably looking at, look on MyFitnessPal, what's kind of similar. A sirloin is probably similar in terms of like the fat content. And a fillet is a little bit more like your mince or your chicken or something like that.
Right. No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All good.
Mm-hmm.
If in doubt, check MyFitnessPal for a direct comparison. Laura's in space. She's imagining she's in bed.
Who, me?
Looking at the stars. No, Laura, she's just in the background. She's gone into God.
I don't know what I've pressed, but I'm in the universe now.
You've completed
I was trying to put my little pizza hat on.
Oh God.
Oh my God, you've done it.
There we go.
Well done.
Don't
All
trigger
right.
me into pizza.
Don't trigger out this. Claire's downfall is
That's the only
peanut
carb
and
I've had
pizza.
today.
Well done. Okay, has anyone else got any questions? I'll let you all go.
No.
No question.
you.
Just want to say that was really beneficial. Thank you. I found that really helpful.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
If anybody does get stuck or anything like that, and like does want any advice, like I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have as well. Even if you guys want to have a go at, if I don't know, if you've got a bagel and you wanted to swap it out for rice and you want to try and work out your macros yourself and then screenshot it and send it to me, then I can obviously like advise you if it's right or not. If you wanted, I'm more than happy to help. So just in case Mads is busy, because I know that Mads will do the same thing, but yeah, I'm here.
Thanks. Yeah, how's Laura? She loves a macro chat. She can look at the carbs you're eating instead of her, and she can live by you. In it, mate. Good. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a nice evening.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy macro tracking last meal.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you later.
Bye.
Sam, stay on. Bye.
Bye.